Hey, Texas Values supporters, this is your Texas Values policy team on X now giving you an update. I'm Jonathan Covey, Director of Policy for Texas Values, and we just wanted to take just a moment to give you a quick midweek update. It's been a few days since we brought you some news on the Texas legislature, so there's a lot of things going on right now. Legislative bills going on in the Texas Capitol, in the House, in the Senate, so we are currently in the Texas House, or actually right in the middle between the House and the Senate, but we just came out of the Texas Senate Health and Human Services Committee chaired by Senator Lois Kolkhorst, and there's a number of bills that we're planning on testifying and supporting in that committee, and we want to talk with you a little bit about some of those bills, and I want to go first to Mary Elizabeth Castle, our Director of Government Relations, to talk with you about some of the pro-life bills being heard today. Mary Elizabeth?
Yeah, so one of the pro-life bills being heard today is a cleanup bill from last session, but just more of a clarifying bill, because this bill, the Thriving Texas Families Act, was very solid in making sure that we have a pro-life state and that we can have a foundation of a healthy family, can continue to encourage women to choose life for the preborn. So basically this was just codifying the Alternatives to Abortion program, making sure that it will be permanent in state law. So before SB 24 was passed last session, you remember the Alternatives to Abortion program was just a budget item. So that means if we were ever to come upon a session where they didn't have that as an amendment to the budget, then that program would basically be done for. And we would go from having $200 million to basically zero. So we wanted to make sure that this was something permanent in our state, especially after the passage of the Texas Heartbeat Law and the overturning of Roe. So we were able to put that permanent in law. But the bill today is just making sure that pro-life centers and pro-life organizations are prioritized in this program. So because they did dispense the programs to the Department of Health and Services and the Family Services, you know, we want to make sure that any organization that does get funding under this program does align with pro-life beliefs. We studied the pilot program over the summer. We saw how they were implementing different programs to encourage family formation and counseling, but just making sure that all of them align with protecting the life of the preborn and helping families choose life for their babies and encouraging those good values that we stand for. And so Megan's going to tell you about a bill that came up back in 2019, making sure that all babies, regardless of disabilities, you know, have the right to life, and she'll be testifying on that as well.
Thank you, Mary Elizabeth. Yes, so we have another pro-life bill today as well by Senator Hancock, SB 1233, which would ensure that babies are given a chance at life and at the very least are given the care that they need if their diagnosis is terminal. And so what the bill does is it ensures that mothers and families are not only given options but are given information about all of the possibilities following the birth of the child, assuming that there is a terminal diagnosis. And so we believe that this bill helps to protect babies in Texas despite their diagnosis and ensure that they have quality of life, whether that's for 2 minutes or for 90 years. So I'm very excited to testify on this bill today.
Yes, so some excellent pro-life bills coming up today in Health and Human Services Committee to testify on. In addition to those bills, we'll also be testifying on SB 1257, which is a bill that's set by Senator Brian Hughes, which says that if insurance companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas or United Healthcare, one of those companies, are covering harmful gender transition surgeries or procedures or treatments, then they also have to cover all of the adverse consequences that follow, all the post-transition consequences from those procedures. Things you might not think about, like females experiencing male pattern baldness, or males having to remove breast implants, or management of PCOS symptoms. So much more, and oftentimes you see that insurance companies, while they will cover on the front end to cover gender transition treatments, and they've been doing this for years, they refuse or they deny coverage for the back end in order for people to detransition or people to be able to go and restore function to the reality of their sex. And so this is a very important bill by Senator Hughes in order to make sure that there's a close in the gap of health care coverage. And so we're going to be testifying in favor of this bill. We're very excited. It's a very pro-family bill as well. And I wanted to mention to you really quickly before we wrap up, in line with some of the other pro-life bills, we have a bill coming up tomorrow, Thursday, on I believe it's in Health and Human Services as well, but it's State Affairs, which is SB 33. This is a bill that was filed to protect from cities and municipalities and local political entities exploiting a loophole in a previous law that says that you can't use taxpayer funds to fund abortions. So what these cities like the city of Austin have been doing is, instead of directly funding abortions with taxpayers' funds, they give these funds, and this is massive amounts of taxpayer funds, they give them to organizations that provide travel support, that provide logistics and indirect abortion-related expenses. And so we're seeing that money is going, taxpayer funds are going to all of these indirect expenses for abortion, and the taxpayers are being cheated out of that money as well. That was not the intent of the law passed that Texas Values helped lead in 2019, SB 22, to prohibit taxpayer funds to abortion. And so this bill will close that loophole, so we're very excited about that as well. And then I wanted to mention briefly, we have a couple of bills, one in the Senate and one in the House, on protecting women's privacy. And we need a hearing in order to be able to continue moving this legislation forward, HB 239 and SB 240. So we have a petition up on our website right now. So if you get a chance, please go to our website and sign the petition for protecting women's privacy, so that we can get a hearing on these bills, and share it with all of your friends. Share it with anyone you know as well, so that we can continue to help protect women, to keep biological males out of females' restrooms, locker rooms, facilities, and other sex-separated spaces. So that's sort of a wrap for our legislative update for today. We're very excited to be up here representing you again, being your boots on the ground for faith, family, and freedom here in the state of Texas, and we look forward to talking to you again here on X. Thanks, guys.